Look, if you've ever been overlooked, ignored, or told that you're not good enough, then don't leave this video. This is for you because I was in that exact same situation when I was in high school. So growing up, when I was playing in high school, I loved this game. I lived in the gym. I lived here. Like, this is all I did. But my training just didn't translate to the game. I had a severe lack of confidence. I had a severe lack of, playmaking ability with the ball. Like, I was solid. Like, I was a very solid player. Let's not get it wrong. But I just wasn't, D1 quality when I was in high school early on. And this led to me not really getting a lot of recognition, not putting up big numbers. Like, I probably only averaged 7 points a game in high school, which is crazy because I played at one of the best mid-majors in the country. But anyways, when I was younger in high school, I played baseball, football, basketball. I decided to stop playing football and baseball to focus on basketball because it was my passion and I knew that I wanted to play at the next level. So early on in my high school career, I was playing a wing position. I was never really playing the one. And I'm a 5'10" guard, 6 foot on a good day. And you need to be able to have guard skills growing up, especially today. Like, if you're under 6'3" and you're playing a forward or big position, you really need to work on your skill development portion. But anyways, I was in that situation and I thought everything I did in training was translating to the game. I was working really hard, lifting when I could, but I never really had a structured plan. I never worked with trainers or anything. And so I think that really limited my progression as a fully developed guard. Throughout sophomore years and junior years of high school, I had good roles on the varsity team. I was kind of the glue guy, playmaker, being a defensive enforcer, usually always guarded the other team's best guard. And something I brought to teams that I took pride on was showing up every day, working extremely hard, being vocal, being a leader, doing whatever it took to win, right? I played with some highly talented players. On my high school teams, we probably had 6, including myself, we probably had 6 to 8 guys go play in college. 6 of them went at least to go play at the Division I level. So there's a lot of talent at my school, and there's only one ball to go around. So I took it upon myself to kind of be the glue guy and, to be the enforcer in a way. And I know I had to take a back seat offensively, which I was fine with at the time. And I guess that really limited myself offensively in terms of putting up a lot of points. I only averaged about 7 points in high school. And obviously, if you're putting up 7 points in high school, it's not like Division I schools are going to be calling left and right. So I think it was important that I did what I had to do, but I wish I would have been a little bit more selfish, looking back on it, been more aggressive. This really led to me having confidence issues when I was playing, and confidence issues really on and off the court. So now we're in my junior, senior year of high school, and I was just running into a lot of struggles because now I was one of the main players on the team, but I really couldn't shoot that well. If you ask any of my high school teammates, teams used to just leave me wide open from 3 because I just was not confident in my ability to shoot the ball. I was not confident in my ability to be myself off the court. And I think that I just wasn't able to just express what I really wanted. And I dealt with a lot of periods of just frustration, just being angry a lot of the times because I knew that I really wanted to play at the next level. I knew that I was working so much harder than the people around me, or I thought I was working so much harder, but it didn't really translate to the game. But I knew that I was working so much harder than them. I was putting in a lot of effort. I was waking up before school. Me and my teammate would go to the gym, go to the YMCA, work out for an hour and a half, shower, get to class really quick, and then do the same thing at the end of the night. Stay late after practice, get extra shots up. And it just never translated to the game for me in terms of my shooting. And I couldn't figure out why this was. Senior year comes, and I improved my shooting a little bit. I improved as a player. I had a really good game in our state championship. We won the state championship. That was amazing. First in our school's history, South Point Catholic. But throughout the year, I was like, man, is this really going to be my last year? I had D2 looks, D3 looks, NAIA, JUCO, and none of them just seemed like good spots for me to go. I took a couple of visits after the season, and none of them just really stood out to me. I went to schools in Chicago, I went to schools in California, and none of them just seemed like the best fit for me. I graduated high school, and I really thought that I was putting the ball down. I really thought that I was just going to be a regular student. Of course, I was still sending out hundreds of emails and messages to coaches all over the country every single day, and nothing just seemed to click. At the time, I was speaking with the University of San Francisco. This was after I graduated high school when COVID hit, and we were talking about a walk-on position. I didn't hear from them for 6 to 8 months. I assumed it was because of the COVID. There weren't enough spots going around, but no communication. So I was like, man, I think I'm done with this. And so COVID was down, everyone was like kind of just stuck in their own homes. And so I took it upon myself to kind of do something about it, right? I was like really frustrated with my situation. I was frustrated with how I felt internally. I was frustrated that I wasn't able to go play basketball. I was frustrated that I was stuck at home because COVID. I took it upon myself to kind of change my situation. I started really getting into lifting weights. I had dumbbells that went up to 30 pounds, and I would just work out as hard as I could, like every single day. And this wasn't basketball, I was putting basketball aside, but I was just working out hard as I could. Then the gym started to open again. Me and my brother, LA Fitness every single morning. I'd hustle and drive DoorDash the rest of the day to earn some cash, to take online classes for college at the time. I was enrolled in a school. And during this time, I was like not even thinking about basketball, but I was healing my body. I had ankle injuries, I had knee injuries. My body just wasn't like at its best. I learned how to like eat properly, and all of this was changing like my internal confidence, my internal compass. And I went to go and move to California. I started a social media company with one of my best friends, and I just wasn't thinking about basketball at this time. So I moved to California. I started to sloop up on some of my habits. I started this media company, and I did it well for a little bit, but I didn't really care too much about it. I was driving DoorDash, doing whatever, had picked up some bad habits, was partying, was doing a lot of random stuff that weren't really contributing to the mission. And then there was just one day where like we had a party the night before, and I was just like, what am I doing? Like, this is not what I wanted to do. This is not where my intentions lie. This is not where my passions lie. Like, how is this making me any better? How is it making me healthier? How is it making me more successful? How is it making my family even more proud of me, right? So I got back in the gym, right? I picked up right where I left off in terms of getting in the best shape. I was big, I was strong, I was moving really heavy weight, like benching over 240, deadlifting 405, feeling just absolutely great physically. And like in turn, it led to me just tapping back into that confidence again. I was out on my own for the first time. I was really coming into like my own person. I lived in my own hometown like my entire life. If you've never left your hometown, I think it's important for you to go out and to go and see what else is out there. And I was blessed to be in a situation due to my support system, which I was able to do that. I was able to go out there and just really find, a new confidence in myself, a new conviction in my beliefs and what I was able to do. And one day I was just, there's a school at the time I was going to, or I was around, and they were playing pickup basketball, and I hadn't played in like 6 months now. And then like I just felt so good on the court. Like I just felt so good confidence-wise, and I hadn't shot the ball in months, and like it felt really pure. I think it was all because of the internal state of how I thought about myself. Like I was comfortable in my own skin. I was comfortable, just being me, expressing myself, not caring what anybody else had to think. Like that was something I used to really struggle with in high school. I used to really care about what other people thought about me, what my friends thought about me, what, teachers, coaches, what they all had to say. And when I learned that none of that really mattered, of course you want to respect everyone else, but you have to be like so confident in your ways, because at the end of the night, who's the person that's lying in bed trying to go to sleep? What are you thinking about? It's you. Who's the person in the mirror? That's you. And so I was feeling so good confidence-wise, and I was like, man, I still have so much more to give this game. Like I vividly remember, I just started hitting up coaches again. I reached out to the coach at the University of San Francisco. And I told my friends around me at the time, I was like, guys, I'm gonna go back and play basketball. And they were like, why would you do that? What's the point? And like, that really hit me. I was like, man, nobody really cares like about what you're doing until you go out and you actually accomplish it. Till you go out and you put the work in first. Because I used to get so hung up on the feeling of accomplishing things without actually being there yet. I hope you know what I mean. I told them that, and I was like, man, I don't really care what anybody else thinks. Like, I'm gonna make this happen one way or another. I started reaching out to coaches again. Months were going by, and I stayed in the gym. The biggest thing was I stayed in the gym. I was feeling my absolute best basketball-wise. And I got a message one day, like God opened a door for me. And it was the coach at USF, and he hit me up. This was about like 8 weeks before I was supposed to go to school in August at the University of San Francisco. And he hit me up and was like, Jake, we have a spot for you. Will we see you there? And I responded so fast. I was like, yeah, I'm there. Called my parents. Guess what happened? Got a spot on the team. And I was just so blessed to be able to go and play at the University of San Francisco. But the story's not done yet. And I was so excited. So I just locked myself in the gym for the next 8 weeks and just tried to get in the best shape of my life. And then I got to tryouts, or I got to like the first week of practice. I got killed. Like I really walked on that court. Like I thought I was like, yeah, I made it. I'm here now. I'm here. And like I walk on the court and there's NBA players on the court. Like my teammates at the time that went on to go play in the NBA, but like, and they were killing me. Like I realized that there was a different level to this game. I took a whole year off. I wasn't playing in games. Yeah, I was working out, but that's different than playing like on a real team in an organized setting. And I got there and it just felt like the game was just, I just wasn't ready for that. Practices were hard for me to pick up. It was hard for me to even pick up on the sets, offense and everything. I didn't even know if I was gonna last. I thought they were gonna cut me. Like I rolled my ankle. I couldn't practice for a week. And I thought like, dang, like just 2 months before I was so excited. I was like, oh, I'm at D1. I'm a Division I player now. And then I get there, like I was feeling all the way up here. Then I get there, boom, I'm feeling way worse than when I was still hustling for a D1 spot. And I just hit me and I was like, man, you think that when you get to these points, when you get to these material accomplishments that you've made it, but like that's really just the beginning. Because when you get to that point, you know, the bar, the standard for which you set for yourself, it just raises and raises and raises again. That's why it's so important to surround yourself by other people who are competitors, who are on higher levels than yourself. And I got there and I was like, man, I have so much more to work on. Like I really have to live in this gym, or else I'm like never gonna earn their respect. And that's the one thing I was trying to earn as a walk-on, was just the respect of everybody in the program, my teammates, you know, the people there, to really feel like I belong. Like I didn't feel like I really belonged. And so like I started just going to the gym. I just lived in that gym and lived on the shooting gun. I started playing ones against some of my teammates who were a lot more skilled offensively. And I would get killed. Like there were some days I'd play some of my teammates and like I would not win a game. And then I started winning a couple of games. And then, you know, I stayed in the gym. My shooting percentages increased. I started, you know, if I missed an open three, I was like shocked. And I just stayed, kept at it, kept going, stayed in the weight room, started diving into my off the court habits. Like, okay, I realized that, you know, I'm an undersized guard at this Division I level. I want to get more athletic. I want to get stronger. I want to get in the best shape of my life. I want to shoot the ball better. I want to finish the ball better. I want to improve my ball handling. So how am I going to combine all this? What do I have to do? And what I really came up with was, well, one, I needed to take care of business off the court, meaning that my habits and my routines in my daily life, they had to be on point. So I started like really diving into, you know, not really self-development, because I was learning as I go. And I think, you know, self-development is like, you know, if you read a self-development book, I don't think it makes you a better person. You have to act on what it teaches you. I really dived into a routine. I'm a creature of habit. I started to set strict rules with myself. Like I'm going to bed at this time, I'm waking up at this time, this is what I'm gonna do at this time, bam, 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 so on and so forth. And, you know, my days were jam-packed. First thing I do in the morning is I wake up, get in the gym, go to class, get to practice an hour early so I can take care of my body, so I can take care of my ankles, make sure I'm ready to go, get some shots up before. And that was like my pre-practice routine. Then we have practice for 3 more hours. And then after practice, you know, I'd get into like the warm tub, cold tub, and, you know, really make sure that I was good to go for later. Like I'd have class again. And then at the night, I would go and play ones against some of my teammates, or I'd get more shots up. So like I was in the gym constantly, like 4 to 5 hours a day. I had to make sure that I was living right off the court as well. So like I really had to eat right. This is when I became obsessed with animal-based diet. Like I really eliminated all seed oils. I eliminated all processed foods from my diet just because I could feel when those foods were in my system. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel as clear mentally. I didn't sleep as well at night. And so I just had to, you know, cook more for myself, you know, go grocery shopping, do all of that, and get really on point in all of these things. You know, one of the biggest things that really led me through all of this was my faith, my faith in the Most High, doing this for something greater than myself. I really believed that when I was going through my process, when I was going through my work ethic and, you know, hopefully inspiring a bunch of other people, that I was doing this in God's glory. And that was basically my story for the next couple of years in college, where I became, you know, one of our leaders in the locker room. I was always one of the guys who would be vocal, who would show up and do things the right way, lead by example. And I knew that I belonged. I knew that there were some days in practice where I would kill and I would do really well. And it just led me to believe, like, this is what I really want to do. I want to teach others how they're going to be able to, you know, take hold of their time, to take hold of their game, to take hold of their routines, to make sure that you're doing everything that you possibly can to pursue the goals that you say you want to do. Like, I believe that there are so many kids now, there's so many young athletes that are like, yeah, I want to go D1, I want to go pro. And, you know, you don't really believe it. Like, I can tell when somebody's talking to me and they're like, yeah, I'll ask them, right? And I'll be like, what's your goal with basketball? And they'll be like, I kind of want to go play in college. I want to go play in college. Yeah. And like, I already know that you're not serious about it. Like, versus other people, when I ask them that same question, it's like, I'm going to play in college. Like, I want to go play there. And like, that tells me that you have that full belief. And it's okay if you're the first person. Like, that's totally fine. Like, you just haven't really learned, or you haven't been around other people who have been at that level before. And that was the biggest thing I realized, is like, there's really levels to this game. There's levels to preparation, to approaching the game, especially if you're not one of the most talented guys. If you're not one of the most talented guys, you don't have the size, right? Then I think you have to have this extra chip on your shoulder that's earned by putting in the work day after day after day, having a really solid routine, studying the game like a nerd, being obsessed with that. You have to give yourself the best chance to seize the opportunity. You have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Like, that's the biggest thing. You never know what coach is going to be coming to your practice or a game or to a tournament. You never know what your energy might say about yourself. You never know what they're looking at. Like, these college coaches are insane. They are crazy. Like, they look at every single little detail. They look at the way you talk to your teammates, your body language on the bench, your body language after you miss a shot. Most of the time when they're in the game, they're not even really concerned about your statistics, right? We get so hung up in our heads about, like, how many points did we score? How many assists did we have? What was our shooting percentage? Like, of course that matters. There needs to be a baseline level of that. But most of the time they look at how they carry yourself. Are you a good teammate? Are you coachable? Are you a winner? There's so many details that go into winning, getting off track. But yeah, so I graduated college, and during this time, during my later years of college, I started training kids in San Francisco. I ran multiple camps, clinics, was working for multiple different organizations, and I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. I love it. I love helping these people get better at this game. I started working with over a dozen private clients out of the USF gym up in San Francisco, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And so now, you know, I'm a skills development coach. Built a brand online, 0 to 25K followers on Instagram. Now I'm posting on YouTube, but now I have almost 20 clients worldwide. I have clients in Australia, the UK, Canada, and all across America, and in Arizona, of course. But what I really do is I teach athletes how they're able to build a structured routine for themselves, and how they need to develop a personalized plan for themselves. That's what I build for you. Like, I will review your film and all of that to show you what it's like to train at the next level, how you need to approach every single one of your days. So if this is something that you want to do, then shoot me a DM on Instagram. The link will be in the description for my page. All in all, that's my story of how I was able to go from having 0 offers in high school to playing at the Division I level, and now mentoring athletes all over the world. I think that if you really are serious about your goals, then you really should listen to what I have to say in this video. Don't just go back and scrolling on your phone, looking at stuff on Instagram, looking at girls, looking at whatever it might be. Really sit with your thoughts and ask yourself, am I doing everything that I possibly can? And sometimes the answer might be no. And like, that's perfectly fine. Like, I don't wake up every single day just completely satisfied, completely motivated to go out and do what I have to do. Nobody ever does that. But when you attribute something to a higher purpose, and you stick to a plan, you stick to a routine that you execute day after day after day, it becomes a part of you, and then you start to do it effortlessly. And it really influences the way that you speak to yourself. Like, I think the biggest thing with this video is that, or I think the biggest thing with me early on was that people would tell me that I was undersized, that I couldn't play at the Division I level, that I couldn't play in college, and I listened to them. I let that influence my thoughts. I let that influence how I talk to myself. And so if you aren't sticking up for yourself, if you aren't putting yourself out there, right, then nobody's going to come to you. Then you're just never going to get to what you want to do. And that's fine. Not everybody can go play in college. Less than 3% of high school basketball players play at the NCAA level. That's D1 to D3. Less than 1% play at the NCAA Division I level. Then how do you expect to get to that 1%? Like, that's just a genuine question. Hope you took something away from this video. This was my story. This is my beliefs. And I just want to keep it real with you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in.